C768. Technical communication is done. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. I am going for my bachelor's degree in cybersecurity and information assurance at a college called Western Governors University. And this is one of the classes that I passed. I just officially got the email saying that I passed maybe about an hour or so ago. And so I just want to talk about that for a little bit. Technical communications was the last of the general education classes that I needed to take. So I'm done with all gen ed classes now officially, which is great. For a general education class, I was actually pretty surprised at what was required to pass because it is PA, performance assessment, so there are 3 tasks that you need to do. Now, I can't go into too much detail about those actual tasks because, I'm not trying to get in trouble, but I will say that it was a bit, and I don't know if I've really talked about this yet on this channel, but the way that it kind of works, whenever you first start a new class or a new course, I would say maybe within the first 12 hours, you should get an email from your course instructor. And your course instructor, they'll introduce themselves, and usually they tell you a little bit about the class. And in this particular class, at least with my course instructor, she actually outlined the 3 tasks that I would need to do, and she sent me links to instructional videos and things like that. I want to say that each of the 3 videos that I saw that kind of outline the tasks and what it is that you need to do, they're probably about 7 minutes each, but there's so much that you have to do with all 3 of these tasks that honestly, when I first watched those videos, I was like, there's just no way. It seems a little bit overwhelming at first because there's just so many different tasks that they throw at you. They're like, you need to do this and this and this and this and make sure you have all of this. And it's just, it is a lot. And it seems like it's a lot, but once you finally get started, once you kind of get the ball rolling or whatever, it's not so bad. I would say the first task probably took me about 3 hours. The second task, maybe an hour and a half. The third task, I'm pretty sure the third task took me about 4 hours, but it only took me 4 hours because I kept doing it. And then when I looked at it, I was like, I don't really like that. And so, yeah, I kind of went back and forth a little bit, but yeah, ultimately, the last task was the longest. The first one was probably the hardest, but the reason why the first one is the hardest is for me is because the second and the third task, are based off of the stuff that you put in the first task. I did this for English composition too, so I might as well do it for this class as well. If you're curious how long it took them to grade each assignment, remember it was 3 of them. The first task took 2 days, 13 hours, 12 minutes. The second task took 1 day, 19 hours, and 15 minutes. And then the third task took 2 days, 20 hours, and 14 minutes for a grand total of 7 days, 4 hours, and 41 minutes waiting for them to grade assignments and send them back to me. But I will say that, of course, your mileage will vary. They might be busy some days, they might not be busy. And then, of course, this, luckily I was able to get these finished and I passed them on my first attempt. If you have multiple attempts where, they send it back to you and you have to revise something and send it back to them, it could take a lot longer. I'm trying to think about what I could give you as far as tips goes. When you just technical communications in general, it's basically the concept around making sure that the things that you're talking about, the things that you're presenting is being presented to the right audience. So, let me try to use an example here. Let's say, for example, video games. Video games is always a great example, right? So let's say you are trying to sell a video game to somebody. If you're trying to sell a fighting game, let's say you're trying to sell a fighting game to me, you can talk about rollback netcode. You can talk about, how much lag the game has. You can talk about frame data and things like that. And I will understand that game. If you instead try to talk to some parent that has never played a video game before, they're not going to understand. They're not going to understand and they're not going to care. So instead, maybe you would highlight the fact that, I don't know, maybe the game will keep their kids busy. So, the parents can have more free time to just, spend some time by themselves or something like that, right? The whole point is that you really want to focus on saying things that your audience is going to be able to, relate to, that they'll be able to understand. If you just go in there saying a bunch of hard technical jargon that the average person is not going to be able to understand, you're not going to be able to capture that audience. You're not going to be able to get them to listen to what you're saying, to pay attention. So that's what you really need to focus on in general when it comes to technical writing. And so obviously that's something that I would recommend that you pay attention to as you go into this class and as you handle your tasks. Oh yeah, and be prepared to use a microphone and a webcam. For some of you, like if you make YouTube videos or if you, I don't know, you stream on Twitch and you use a webcam already, shouldn't be a big deal. But some of you, you might be a little nervous and stuff, so it's cool. Just kind of mentally prepare yourself for that. And that's it. So what's next? Well, I have two classes that I have access to right now. I have access to C844 Emerging Technologies in Cybersecurity, and then I also have C838 Managing Cloud Security. And so my plan is going to be to do the emerging technologies in cybersecurity. To be honest with you, it has two tasks, and so I actually looked at them real quick, and I didn't see in task 2 where it said that I have to wait to get graded for task 1. So honestly, I think I'm just going to take this weekend to just do both tasks. I'll submit them both at the same time, and then hopefully I'll be able to get a grade back a little bit faster. But of course, I'm going to have to wait because that's a performance-based class. And so while I'm working on that, I'm also going to be working on the Managing Cloud Security class. In fact, what I've done with that is I've already started studying for that. I'm using the Mike Chappell LinkedIn Learning series, so I'm actually going through his videos right now. It's about 12 hours of videos, but I will most likely finish all of it this weekend, and then we'll go from there. I'm still thinking that the Managing Cloud Security class is probably going to take me a couple of weeks, but we'll see after I get those videos done. If you're curious about my overall progress, remember that I transferred in 70% of my degree into WGU, which resulted in me only having 10 classes that I needed to take. But with that being said, 6 classes are officially done. So the only thing that's left, there are 4 classes that are left. So I'm going to try to knock out, these next 2 classes. I got to do what I got to do. It might take a couple weeks for one of them, but I'm still thinking at this point, because I only have 4 left, I'm hoping I can get this done by mid-February. It's looking like it might actually be possible, even though my goal was really just to finish it by the end of the first quarter, which would have been the end of March. That's all for now, though, so you guys take care, and I will see you in my next video.